Hi, welcome to Fight Did It, a show where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from a world not beyond. I'm your host, and secret source of inspiration, a snappy guide for a creator. I'm joined by John Nash and Eugene S. Robinson from Oz.com, and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know About Asking. We're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking. Now, Eugene.
Sir.
Since I was slowing things down, I got to speed it up.
Yep.
You're Dana White.
Man.
You were busted watching boxing live and in public, if you will, ringside of UFC 222. With UFC TV rights up for grabs, how can you inspire networks to license your content when you don't even want to watch it your damn self?
You gotta get some envelopes. If I'm the bald one, I get some envelopes. I stuff them full of cash, lots and as much cash you can fit in any single envelope.
Yes.
And like Johnny Appleseed, I go over to the USADA guys' houses and the commission's houses, and I get some clearance for Johnny Boney Joni in a super fight against Brock Lesnar. I get some ownership stake. I break off some money, ownership stake for Conor McGee. I lure Ronda in for a Gina Carano super fight of the has-beens. I even make bread with Tito and break bread with Tito. Anything you can to distract from the fact that you are the head of a failing enterprise that you yourself don't even give a shit about. You got, it's like that Dave Chappelle thing when he's playing the Black Bush and he throws the water one way and runs the other way. Yeah, so it's good old-fashioned distraction because there's nothing. You can't, man, with picture in picture, you could even have picture in picture. You have to be standing behind a big fucking screen like that, watch it, not look at. You got guys beating their heads out for you in the cage 4 feet away, and you are watching TV. That's, you know what? Who did that? Sting's drummer did that. Got into an argument with his girlfriend, and he was playing perfectly. Sting turned around and saw him, fired him before the set was over. Fuck you. I pay you to do something, do it. In this instance, he knows if he caught one of his guys doing that, he would fire them. This is inexcusable, and it sends out all kinds of wrong signals. And frankly, it makes me feel like an asshole for paying $10 to sit at home and watch it, or sit at the strip club where I was and watch it. So,
damn. How about you, John?
Well, I don't think it's that big a deal. I mean, the beauty of it is,
says the guy who cruises porn at work.
Listen, I used to work on softcore. Yeah, I've been trying to work my way up into the majors for years. I never did it. So I'm a little cruising porn at work. How dare you? But anyways, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, does it make any noise? The beauty is that the ratings and stuff are so bad for the UFC right now. No one's going to care. No one's paying attention to him watching which was a much bigger fight actually that night than the UFC 222. So I think if anybody bugs him on it, he goes, listen, of course I'm following boxing. It was an important fight, and we are getting into boxing with Zuffa Boxing.
Yeah.
That's it. And plus no one's going to ask because no one cares because it was such a cruddy card that no one's paying attention to the UFC right now. So
see, that's why John is where he is and I am where I am. That's sound fucking advice. I got carried away with the emotion of the moment, and as a degenerate fight fan was angry, but that's a good fucking smokescreen.
See, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm wearing my suburbs hat, and I'm looking like I'm ready to maybe mug someone right after the show. So.
Hey, that's probably a better smokescreen than Nate himself would have come up with. I gotta take my hat off to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm here to. You go ahead. It's your show.
I was going to say, speaking of smoke screens and better answers, John, you're Jon Jones.
Oh, crap. Serial killer Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Misha Tate ethered you on Twitter days after the California State Athletic Commission publicly embarrassed you. Is this some part of MMA PR passion play?
I don't know what. I mean, this was... First of all, it was very entertaining that as much as the cards haven't been stacked and we're not excited by the fights, I got to admit that hearing was incredibly entertaining. especially when he brought out, they had months and months to get ready, and yet they weren't ready for the hearing. That was amazing. And even in the hearing, the commission's basically telling him to get rid of his management right in front of his management. So poor Mulkey Kawa and stuff. My take on it is I don't know what I honestly don't know what Jones to do, because it can't get any worse for him. This is probably the least of his concerns. He's worried more if he's going to get a 2-year suspension. If I don't know, maybe double down and call Misha Tate names, or ignore it, because you're going to be out so long, no one's going to remember this by the time you get back. So the PR on that is there's 2 options. One is double down and be a villain, or 2, ignore it, let it go away, and by the time you get back, no one will remember it, because it's going to be so long before you get back after your suspension, because you did such a horrible defense for yourself, that it's not going to matter anymore. That's my terrible PR advice.
All right, hold on. So, wait. So the premise is, well, I'm Johnny Boney Joni. How's this working?
Right. So the thing is that you're Jon Jones, and Misha Tate, you got into a
scuffle,
Twitter beef with Misha Tate days after, and she ethered you, she embarrassed you. And then days before that, though, you got embarrassed by California State Athletic Commission. So the fact that you keep on getting embarrassed live and in public, if you will, in such basic ways, avoidable ways, is this some kind of weird MMA passion play? He's all religious and tries to acts like he's a Jesus boy, but he's not.
No. So I screwed up my answer completely, but I'll let Eugene save me on this one.
Yeah, I don't know if I can save you, because I got inside information, right? And my inside information, it seems to indicate to me, it's like, when in John Chardy's translation of Dante's Inferno, he does this thing where he has the people who are in the circles of hell. They're simply doing in hell what they did in real life, not in exaggerated form, but without boundary or without border. So the gluttons are forced to eat, because that's all they did when they were alive, and that's just and we have the same situation with him. We're overthinking the Johnny Boney Joni thing. If he hasn't figured out that he needs to jettison these cats he likes to hang out with at the fucking mini mart, the same ones who probably got him possibly got him the Stree Overlord pills, who are quasi fighters himself. One of them is one guy runs a mini mart, has got a cousin who's a quasi fighter, and they're getting into scuffles in hotel lobbies. If he hasn't figured out that, you lay down with dogs and you get up with fleas, man, if you can't figure out, I don't know how to help this guy, and your comment about maybe this is a passion play, like the weird thing that they do in the Philippines around Easter, where they, score the flesh in order to experience the miseries of Christ. I mean, it could be religious people maybe have this tendency to call suffering unto themselves, but it doesn't seem like, I have to come to the conclusion that maybe it's just a shitty job, right? I mean, because I don't know anybody out there who seems to be really excited about doing it, right? I mean, Conor McNugget seemed to be more excited about the Burger King commercial with the chicken than he has anything else. And I know I got a spy in his camp too at Straight Blast Gym, and the guy says, "Well, yeah." I said, "What's Conor into these days?" He goes, "Seems to be mostly 3-piece suits. Are you seeing him train? Unless he's training a 3-piece suit, no." So, I mean, it's like, I guess once you get your degree, you don't go back to hang around school. I don't know. I can see Conor McNuggets maybe doesn't want to come back. I don't know that Johnny Boney Joni cannot come back, given that he's got to live and eat and pay his fines.
He didn't make as much money as Conor McGregor. So you're talking about the kind of money Conor is making, then you can very easily see.
Well, I mean, to assume that he's made wise investment of the money he has made is to assume a lot of things. It's assume that he would get rid of the mini mart guys. It's assuming that he would not have fucked himself into this unfuckable hole. I mean, it just seems to me to be like an Allen Iverson thing. You get practice. It's practice. It's just practice. Why? I mean, it's just like, man, I got to wear pants to work. I don't like it. I got to do it. You got to do it. There are things that you got to do. I mean, there's something about being a young phenom that sort of fucks you up. And I think that's at work here. If I'm him, I do my fucking homework. And you know what? I assume that I'm already fucked. If I'm him, I assume I'm already fucked. And I pretty much start training my ass off, because someday they're going to call me again. And I got to be ready. None of this, oh, I need a warm-up fight. None of that shit. No. You got one last fucking chance. You better make it good.
John, you don't think this is some kind of attempt where, like, I'm going to fuck up everything? So, you know, you saw this. The whole defense is like, I'm such a, like, why would he do something so stupid? I don't know. Why would I?
Yeah, in a weird way, it's like you know, Mean Streets. Charlie and Mean Streets brought on all his problems because he was so obsessed of proving his faith, because he wanted he wanted these dilemmas. But Jon Jones doesn't strike me as Charlie from Mean Streets. He strikes me as Johnny Boy, the guy that can't help but screw up left and right. Yeah. So I'm not sure Jon Jones is bringing it on as because of his own. He almost wants to test himself of his faith and test his perseverance. I think he's just an F up, and that's just the way he is. He's an F up.
Hey, my daughter had a boyfriend, and she said, had a moment, and she goes, "Look, Dad, why don't you like him?" Yeah, and I said, "I like him. Me relating to this guy, I like him as a guy. He's just a fine guy. I've known him since he was born. I've known him that long. But you got to understand, he is a perpetual fuck up. A perpetual fuck up. You can't shake that shit out of you. You can't clean that out of your clothes.
Shake this shit out of you.
No, you can't. It's like Octave Mirbeau said in The Torture Garden. Some backs cry out for the knife. Or like Sly Stone said, some people you just love to burn. Some people just love to get burned, and they will never, ever fucking stop. I know plenty of people who got stopped in traffic stops. I only know one guy who got arrested because the cop happened to see a pill that he had under his seat, and then he goes running and then gets stopped for not having a prescription for one fucking pill. He goes to jail. What the fuck? Perpetual fuck up, man. And I think Johnny Boney Joni is precisely that. The only reason we notice is because the ways in which he doesn't fuck up are so spectacular.
He's brilliant in the ring, especially cheating with pointing the guys in the eye. But outside the ring, he just can't hold together. He's like the 48 Laws of Power. Beware the infected. He's the infected outside the ring. He can't help it.
But you're probably onto something too, all guys. But what you just mentioned, the combination of your takes on it with the eye pokes, right? Because it's also a situation that's like chronic as well. So it's like one of these things where it's just like we got to start on the edge.
Yeah, we got to start talking about Chuck Liddell. I'm not going to back off that. That eye pokes. Chuck Liddell rode that to fame and fortune, and we love Chuck Liddell, right? So. But Chuck Liddell doesn't have a pattern of fuck upitude. I mean, outside of falling asleep on that TV show in Dallas because of cough medicine,
or that camera shot with the side where he's like,
I love that. That's my favorite. He had sinus problems that day. We just let off the man. I mean, who hasn't had sinus problems?
The fact that I didn't see Chuck wear shoes. I didn't see Chuck wear shoes in Vegas. First time I saw him wear shoes was when I was fighting with him down in San Luis Obispo. We did that thing. We did an article on Atreyu, that band, and I challenged him to a fight at the end of the interview.
Well, speaking of challenges and interviews, Eugene, your Showtime. Is Brendan Schaub's weaponizing his whiteness part of your PR plan to promote his Showtime talk show?
Well, there's no such thing as bad publicity, and the reality of it is presently Trump's America. So you got the guys in the khakis and the white shirts and whatever the fashion catastrophe they have going for them. Oh, the New Balance sneakers, and they might like something like that, like a Schaubonian, quasi racist. I'm not willing to pull the trigger on Schaub being a racist. He's just a dumbass, and there are plenty of dumbasses who have TV shows. Not me, not you, not John, but whatever. There's a dumbass who has a TV show. So I think they look at this as a little jet fuel to get from, people are parlayed. I mean, people still talk about Mel Gibson, and that guy's a little bit more than just a dumbass. So weaponize Schaub. I think it's a PR person who's deciding we should be able to generate some heat out of this and some interest in this guy's show. But I got to tell you that the show is dead, not because he's he's a ham-handed dumbass. But the show is dead because, well, I guess because he's a ham-handed dumbass.
What do you think, John?
Well, now I know why me and Nate are always here to prevent that kind of demographic, so Shab can't come after the show. But no, I mean,
damn, he's on to us.
Damn, the secret's given away. You need to. But no, it's well. One thing is, part of me is like, oh, it's good for not this comment, but you're happy for Shab that a guy that was basically a mediocre fighter was able to find something afterwards and actually make something. Even though I find his show atrocious and I find there's nothing entertaining about him. He's not insightful. He's not witty. He's not funny. He's not charismatic. You know, besides all that, he's a pretty good host of the show. But so you give him credit for that. But then you see the show and you see these comments. And I agree with Eugene. It's not to say that he's racist. I guess Lester Spence always has a good explanation. It's racist adjacent. In other words, you're willing to ignore racism or blind to it. And his comments strike me as a guy that sees all these, I guess, edgy comments, and he wants to get on the act, and he makes a comment similar to them without really understanding what he's saying. What he's saying is pretty damn offensive. That because there's no white guys hosting on one show, it was pushed on him. It wasn't these guys are talented enough to host it themselves. So that's offensive to begin with. So I guess if I forget who am I Showtime or you Shab? I can't remember.
Showtime.
Oh, well, if I'm Showtime, and I think if I'm Showtime, I would maybe drop show and look for maybe another show about guys fixing PR kerfuffles to take his place. I think that would be the proper move.
You know, I think I could help in that regard. I could direct them to a kind of a place or a space where they might find people like that. We might know people like that.
Exactly. Well, I would imagine there's got to be a show. I would imagine a show hosted maybe by not one guy, because one guy can always be an asshole, but two, maybe three people together that comment on PR kerfuffles would be the perfect show for Showtime.
Well, you know, the funny thing about this Shab thing is that, you know, they may say, oh, well, we got a little heat, get a little light, guy's a little edgy. You know, a good PR person on the other side has already spun this so that he hasn't lost his job. But you got to know in this environment that the guy is on fucking super thin ice, right? I mean, because what does he have to? Does he have to bust loose with a bitch? Oh, that bad. I mean, you know, guys are finding themselves sitting at home at 10 o'clock in the morning now for fucking less, you know. So if I were him, his PR person should sit down with him and say, "Do not fuck this up. Do not fuck this up. Keep it light and happy. Stay away from stupid shit. It's not helping you."
Damn. Well, one bit of advice, person that I don't know if he should seek out is a member of John's Legion of Doom.
Oh yeah. So here, let's see if this works. I tried to get a play. Here we go. But maybe not.
Yes.
Okay, that was a long way to go for a short thing.
Oh, it didn't work. Didn't work. Oh well. It's a god damn it.
Hidden beneath its murky waters lies the headquarters of the most sinister villains of all time.
Okay, I don't know if I played it or not.
But it triggered my memory. Gorilla Grodd.
Yes, it's so we got a Legion of Doom today. So this time, my new member of the Legion of Doom, today's Legion of Doom member, was brought to my attention by an article by Kareem Zidane, and who's probably provided half the Legion of Doom members so far. And his name is Andrei Shiniyukov. He's a second-degree black belt in Aikido who runs a training camp, who ran a training facility for children, and has been in hiding for the last 3 years when he was suspected in a number of especially grave crimes, including murder. So during that 5-year period, it is believed that his group murdered 8 victims at the request of their clients. So again, nothing says more about MMA than a child training martial artist working for the mob in Russia, killing people. And thanks to Zidane, we get another member of the Legion of Doom.
Oh, how'd they catch him?
They haven't caught him yet. He's on the hide. He's on the lam.
Okay, so, all right.
Oh, shit, so watch out.
All right, so he's on the lam. So hold on. How did they start to think that this was the guy? Like, how did he? Why is he on the lam? I guess is what the story.
Because the officials in Russia, who are considered one of the most honest police departments in the world, penned him, or I guess pointed out, tried to arrest him or whatever, charged him with conspiracy of being part of this murder group that works for the mob.
Got it.
It's I don't. It's just, listen. There's nothing. You ask me. Okay, maybe that's not a super villain, but god damn it, that's a James Bond henchman villain.
No, that is a super villain.
I'm always bemoaning the fact that it's hard to find a contract killer these days. Because every time you read about a contract killer, it's because of somebody got busted trying to hire one, and they hire an FBI agent, or I guess mostly that's it. Yeah. It seems like, man, if people, but then I read what they're willing to pay to have somebody murdered. It's like $2,000. You got what you fucking paid for, you dumbass. But then there's somebody, somebody got paid.
I'm running a little light this month.
Yeah,
right. And a lot of them are like incompetent. Did you hear about that nurse that killed the contract killer that was hired by her husband to kill her, and she killed him in a fight in the house? Like, I don't want to be mean, but a 200-pound, 50-year-old nurse, if a contract killer can't kill her, you probably got the wrong contract killer.
You got the wrong contract killer, but you got the right contract, man. That woman's a terror. That guy, her husband just wanted to be free. He just wanted to be free. Anyway, so
man. Well, Eugene, who's in your Lost Battalion this week?
It's a sad time. It's gone increasingly sad, right? Because what we're talking about, it's like the Orson Welles movie Lifeboat with Tallulah Bankhead. It's like that. So shoving people off the boat when the boat's already adrift is really sad. But I'm gonna put Struve in there, and I'm gonna put Orlovsky in there, and I don't want to see him ever again. I think awareness is the issue. I think that they know that that nobody wants to see them ever again, but it hasn't stopped them from standing in front of the microphone, giving speeches like somebody gives a shit, and raising their hands and bowing 4 times to each corner of the fucking arena like Orlovsky did. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. That was a dog shit fight. You are now officially a dog shit fighter. You would do yourself a bet, do something else for cash, please, because it's not go to Bellator. I guarantee you could fight a more exciting fight at Bellator, but that shit's not happening, man. It's just not. It's just not.
If Dana White's watching a boxing bout during your fight, I think that's a sure sign that you're in the Lost Battalion.
Yep. And I have to tell you, when the fish in the head thing, if your boss is watching something else at the job he's supposed to be doing, I guarantee you slackness is all through that line. Sean Shelby, also known as Keith, is like, hey, what do you say we get Wes Sims in there? Man, he hasn't fought for us for years, hasn't he? That's it. That's day to day in Las Vegas at the UFC headquarters. Fuck you guys.
Man. With that positivity, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson and Alexi Alda. Hey, not the face! At Facebook, MMA Pancholes. Please give us a thumbs up.
Pancholes!
Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com, YouTube MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Buy something so you can source inspiration. Buy Oxford Thinback Duke, where fine music is sold. What should they buy from you, John?
I guess some. Just send me money through PayPal. That's probably the best. No, I got some videos coming up. We got a Show Money episode just recorded, and I'll have another Pen Chronicles. I got almost done. I was sick for a week or so, and some articles coming up and crap like that. So that's it.
And immediately following this show, be sure to check out our new, well, not so new show, If the Shoes Fit Eugene. How do they do that?
Right below this image that you're looking at, there's a link. You click on the link, and in 90 seconds, we'll be back with If the Shoes Fit, a show just like this show, but we don't talk about fighting. Simple. Right below, right now.
Well, this week we're making an exception because we're going to lead with Canelo Alvarez. And
if they want to know, they can wait 90 seconds.
Okay.
Secret. Okay, here we go. Hitting the stop.